Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Hennebury. I'm here to guide you through this 35-minute vinyasa flow. And I just want to encourage everybody as you're going along to take your time with the poses. Make sure you're taking it at your own pace. Modify anything that you need to modify. And really let your breath guide you through the practice. If your breath becomes ragged or if it becomes too hurried, you find your pulse is getting too high, ease off and modify the pose for you. Having said that, we've all been cooped up during this isolation time, so I hope this can give you a little bit of opportunity to get into yourself and to go inwards. Good day everyone, welcome to Rooftop Yoga. This will be a 35-minute vinyasa flow in the sunshine. Just so happens that I'm recording this now while there's rain and wind flowing, so it's very nice to have this visual of a nice bright sunny day. So I'm coming to the back of my mat in mountain pose and taking some time to ground my feet into the mat, opening up the chest a little bit without letting the ribs flare out too much. Pulling the shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades together just a little bit, and I'm energizing through my legs. So I'm allowing almost on the first breath to ground my feet down. On the second breath, I'm letting the energy flow upwards, almost like the two legs are creating one pillar. I'm stretching my arms way up in the sky and coming down for a sun breath. Just over bent knees for now, no need to overstrain. Come up to a flat back, take a nice deep breath in, and exhale back down over the legs. Come back up to mountain pose, extended mountain pose with the hands way up above the head. If you like, you can grab a hold and lace the fingers and allow the wrist to stretch outwards. Protect the lower back by engaging the hips and the pelvis. Back into mountain pose. Let's take a deep breath in, arms above, folding over the legs once again, exhaling. Inhaling into a flat back and exhaling over the stretched legs once again. Come down to the mat, onto a tabletop, and let's flow through some cat-cows. So I'm exhaling into the cat, inhaling into the cow pose, back and forth, exhaling to the cat, arching the back. I'm lifting the knees now a little bit off of the mat just to engage the wrists a little bit and begin to prepare the wrists for the work we're going to be doing later, coming into child's pose. Once again, I'm lifting my fingers a little bit off of the mat, just slightly, to engage the palms. And next, let's come back into a tabletop, and we're going to stretch the right leg back below us. I'm engaging my hips, my belly's crunched in, and I'm going to extend my leg backwards. Deep inhale. Always trying to keep our inhales, exhales, the breath flowing nice and deeply. So I'm going to extend the leg out, inhale and exhale, rounding the back 3 or 4 times, bringing the knee to the nose. On the other side now. Exhaling out, knee to the nose, inhaling the extension, inhaling on the curl. Let's come up into our first down dog. You can pedal your feet a little bit slightly if you'd like to. At this point, I'm really pressing my palms into the mat strongly, bending the knees slightly. Not worried about whether the heels touch the mat at all. Just trying to let my head relax and stretch my shoulders as much as possible. I'm trying to get my hip bones way up into the sky. So I'm going to inhale, look forward, and walk up to the top of the mat to a flat back. Inhale, and exhale over the legs. Rise up on the inhale. Extended mountain pose, and exhale the arms down. Right back into it. We're going to inhale the arms up to extended mountain pose again, folding over the legs, exhale, Inhale to a flat back. And exhale back to chaturanga push-up or down to cobra like I'm demonstrating in the video. I'm going to come up to my cobra pose on the inhale, allowing the hips to remain on the mat. And I'm going to repeat this just a couple of times just to really reinforce the back muscles. A lot of people have been doing a little bit, like myself, a little bit too much screen time these days, so I really want to focus on strengthening the back. So I'm going to exhale back into downward dog. Stay here for a few breaths. On the inhale, I'm really trying to extend my shoulders outwards, press my hips up. And on the inhale, we're going to look forward and then exhale forward, walking the feet to the front of the mat. I'm going to inhale to a flat back, exhale over the legs, and come back on an inhale to extended mountain pose. Inhale the arms up overhead, exhale over the legs once again. Inhale to a flat back. And I'm going to exhale my right leg back, setting up my first low lunge here. You can either tuck the toes underneath in the back foot or allow the top of the foot to contact the mat. So what I want to try to do here is not allow my ribs to flare out too much as I bring the shoulders back, interlace the fingers behind my back, and round upwards, allowing myself to get a little bit deeper into the pose in the hips and extending the upper back and really stretching out the shoulders. Come back into cobra, coiled serpent. First, inhale into the cobra. Exhale back to downward dog. And I'm going to be coming with my right foot after a couple of breaths in between the hands. Nice big breath. And I'm going to bring that foot forward and set it up on the other side here. So once again, I take my time. Don't want to jump right into it. Step by step. Still warming up here. Opening up the chest. Eventually interlacing the hands behind the back, the opposite way this time, just for some balance. I'm going to slowly tilt the head back, looking upwards, allowing the shoulders to stretch, the hips to stretch down. An option here just to keep the hands on the knees or even extend the hands upwards, whatever you like. Let's bring it back to downward dog. Exhale, down to the ground. Inhale to the cobra. Exhale, back into downward dog. Really big cycles of breath here. Trying to relax into this downward dog. So let's inhale, look forward, exhale, walk the feet, or step, or jump if you like, to a flat back inhale, and exhale over the knees once again, coming back up on an inhale to extended mountain pose. I'm going to inhale once again, the arms up into the air. Exhale over the legs. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale back into plank and into chaturanga. Inhaling to my downward dog, upward dog that is, looking up, and exhaling into the downward dog. Letting my head drop, relax, extending the shoulders, pressing the palms, pressing the hips way up into the air. Relaxing any muscle that doesn't need to be engaged here. So I'm stepping my right foot between my hands, The left foot follows. Inhale to a flat back and exhale down over the legs. Inhale. Back up to extended mountain. And let's repeat again. Taking a couple seconds just to ground myself before I go any further. Coming into chair pose now. Allowing the butt to squat back behind, making sure that my knees are not going too much over my toes. I'm looking upwards towards my fingers. And I'm trying to squeeze and tear. I'm actually trying to tear the mat apart with my feet at this point. Let's exhale over the legs. Inhale to a flat back. And you can walk, step, or jump into the chaturanga. Inhaling to an upward dog. Exhaling back to downward dog. And after one or two breaths, I'm going to bring my right foot back way behind me as I inhale. Exhale, bring my knee to my nose. Inhale back again, this time stepping the foot between the hands and coming up into Warrior One. In this first part of this Virabhadrasana series, my back foot is at a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to use about 6 or 7 breaths here to really get into it. Again, grounding through on the first breath, I'm making sure I have a good anchor. The second breath, I'm energizing. Third breath, I'm relaxing and letting any muscle melt away that doesn't need to be engaged. Repeating that cycle even through the inhale and the exhale. Inhaling, energizing. Exhale, relaxing. And trying to find that balance after a few breaths. I'm exhaling, stepping the foot back into the plank. Inhaling into my upward dog. Exhaling back to downward dog. Getting ready for the second side. And we're going to bring that left foot way behind us on an inhale. Exhale the knee to the nose. Inhale way behind again. And exhale the foot between the hands. Back foot on the 45-degree angle, slowly bringing myself up, finding my position. My shoulders are square in front of me, rising the hands above the head on an inhale, and repeating the same cycle of grounding the feet down, energizing the body, energizing the lines of energy from the feet up to the fingers, from the toes up to the fingers. Trying to stretch just a little bit more with every single breath. And if you feel comfortable at the end, you can look up. And the last couple of breaths here, really try to stretch back as much as possible. And let's exhale back to plank into chaturanga push-up. Inhale to an upward dog. And exhale back to downward dog. Take a few breaths here. Allow the head to hang. Again, finding that balance between strength and ease. Energizing and melting at the same time. Looking forward, walking, stepping, or jumping up to the front of the mat. Inhaling to a flat back and exhaling over the legs once again. And coming back on an inhale into the chair pose briefly and exhaling back to mountain pose. Keep focused here. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling over the knees once again. Inhaling to a flat back. And then walk, step, jump the feet back to the back of the mat. Inhale into upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Finding that balance, keeping the focus. Right leg, inhale back behind. And let's bring the right knee to the right elbow. Inhale back behind again. This time stepping the foot between the hands and coming up into Warrior Two. So I'm really opening up my hips here, trying to extend my fingers to the front and to the back, while at the same time squeezing my shoulder blades together, which seems counterintuitive. I'm getting lower and lower with every single breath. Again, repeating through my mind of grounding down, energizing up, melting down, finding the balance between the strength and the ease. I'm going to stretch the right arm upwards to a reverse warrior really quickly, and then back down to chaturanga on an exhale. Inhale to upward dog, and exhale to the downward dog for the other side. Let's inhale the left leg back behind us, and exhale, bringing the knee to the left elbow. Inhale the leg back once again, and bring the left foot between the hands for warrior two on the other side. Setting it up, grounding down through the feet, finding that anchor, energizing the body, really extending the arms out, coming a little bit lower, really pressing, just like we do with the palms of the feet in downward dog. In this Virabhadrasana, we're trying to really press the palms of the feet and engage the legs as much as possible, while still melting away all the muscles that don't need to be used here, staying focused, keeping concentrated without looking around. So reverse the warrior on an inhale, exhale, coming back down into chaturanga push-up. Inhale to upward dog, and exhale back to downward dog. Find that breath, make sure it's deep and consistent. Right leg comes back up into the air. This time we're going to go across to the left elbow. Inhale up again, stepping the right foot back between the hands. Getting ready to set up warrior three here. We're going to do a little bit of flying. So we're coming up into this warrior three, sort of a Superman pose, and you can play around do whatever you like. The hands can be in prayer. The hands can be extended out. The fingers can be interlaced behind your back. If you find yourself wobbling here, that's fantastic. It means you're really working your balance. This is where it gets a little bit difficult on those, a little bit difficult on those fourth and fifth breaths. Stay focused. Bring that foot back down. Exhale down into our chaturanga push-up. Inhale. Nice big inhale to the upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Extending the left leg back on an inhale. Exhale this opposite elbow to the knee. Inhale that left foot between the hands. And let's set up warrior three on the other side here. My hips probably rotate a little bit too much up towards the sky. I want to try to bring my butt cheek down a little bit on the right side. But again, you can experiment with what you can do here. You need to have your one hand down on the ground to keep balance. You can use blocks, extending the arms out if you like. Bringing the arms back behind you. Trying to stay here for 5 breaths. Is really working some strength, building the prana in the legs. Inhale back into the chaturanga push-up or cobra. Exhale, that is. Inhale to upward dog and then back to downward dog on an exhale. Looking forward, bending the knees, and you can walk, step, or jump the feet to the top of the mat. Come to an inhale with a flat back. Exhale, get a nice stretch over the legs. Inhale back, up to mountain pose extended. Take a moment to let it settle. Back into mountain pose. Focusing on that work you've just done, allowing that residue of the poses to sink in. We're inhaling up, exhaling over the legs once again. Inhaling to a flat back and coming back to Chaturanga push-up and exhale. Inhale, upward dog, and exhale to downward dog. And to really find your own pace in these classes. You might need to pause now and then, and that's okay. But we just did quite a little bit of work here. So if you made it this far, that's fantastic. I'm a little bit sweaty. I'm going to wipe it down. And I'm going to allow my legs to rest a little bit here. Allow the hips to really drop down towards the heels. My elbows are disengaged here, just onto the mat. Let the body melt. Before we get into a little bit of floor stretching here at the end of the practice, we want to maintain a nice long breath. The hard work is done here, but we still want to make sure that we're focused, keeping the breath long. So I've come up here onto my toes for a toe stretch, and you'll notice I'm tucking my little pinkies under there, making sure that they're getting a stretch as well. If this is painful, you might need to come forward onto your hands to allow the pain to subside a little bit. Very good stretch for the toes. So I untucked my toes here and just stretching the shoulders and the hips upwards. And we're coming into a staff pose now with the feet straight out in front of me. I'm sitting up. This is quite a challenging pose, actually, if you do it right. So what I'm trying to do is press my heels forward, bring my toes back towards my face. The hands come out to the side. You can have them a little bit wide or right next to you if you like. And let's get set up, Paschimottanasana. I'm stretching up first and then coming, whether it's to the shins, to the ankles, to the toes. Start slow. Tuck the chin slightly. Nice deep breaths here. Working on keeping the back relatively straight. Straight line from the sit bones up into the crown of the head. And on the inhale, I subside a little bit, and on the exhale, deepen the stretch a little bit with every breath. Ease off on the inhale, exhale, deepen the stretch. And as the body gets a little bit more comfortable, we can really get deep into the pose. Taking it step by step. Making sure that if we feel any pain at any point, we want to make sure to come back to the breath, ease off. Let's come back up into the staff pose, and we're going to bring the left leg, bend the left leg, and bring the bottom of the left foot up against the right leg. Stretching upwards, arms up, and once again, really pressing my right heel out away from me, bringing my toes towards me. And same process as the Paschimottanasana and this Janu Shirshasana. Sometimes I like to bring the right arm back just to make sure that I'm facing towards that leg and not hanging out towards the left. Nice big long breaths. Let's come back up. Switching the legs now. Right leg comes in. Left leg extended. I like to kind of press the bent leg against the mat so I'm grounded down fully. Making myself sit up nice and straight. Arms up first. And then come down. Again, start at the shin, work towards the ankle, see how far you can get. Every little breath getting a little bit further. Keeping the breath long, keeping the mind focused on the task at hand. Again, I bring my left out a little bit to the side to ground down. Make sure that I'm facing towards that left leg. And on the last few breaths, come down as far as I can without putting myself in pain. Feel the intensity of the pose. Feels really nice. I want that feeling of intensity, that stretching feeling, but without a pain feeling. Just briefly bring both feet in to this little butterfly stretch, and I'm going to grab my strap now. For the last stretching series here for the hips. So I'm laying down flat onto the mat, and I'm going to loop my heel. You notice the way I did that, loop my heel around and holding on to the inside as opposed to the outside. You can just loop it around the foot if you like, but this is the way I like to do it. So I'm pressing my left leg as if I'm standing on it. And the right leg's coming straight up, and I'm not really focusing on stretching here so much as I am focusing on alignment and really pressing my buttocks away from my ribs. Trying to lengthen the area between the ribs and the hips on the right side here. A little bit of stretch here. Once I get my alignment. Again, big breaths, nice and long, keeping the body engaged. So I'm going to very slowly switch the strap to my left hand and bring my right leg over to the left into a twist. My arms are out at a T. You can use a block or a bolster over on the left side there to cushion your foot if you need it. My leg is relatively straight here, but it doesn't need to be. It can be slightly bent. Figure out what's comfortable for you. So I'm switching back over to the other side, switching the strap to the right hand, and lowering the foot out towards the right side here. Using my left hand to kind of ground my left hip into the ground, making sure that I'm not rolling overwards. And once again, I'm trying to extend my leg away from my body, almost like I'm creating space between the ribs and the hips once again. Stretch it back up to the top just to even things out once again. And let's switch sides. Looping the strap around the left foot. Right leg comes out. If it's too uncomfortable to have your right leg completely straight, you can also just bend it inwards. And again, if your leg is bent when you're doing this, that's fine. You need to find what works for you. So once again, the first few breaths here, I'm not really focusing too much on stretching, just working on the alignment. This time on the left side, focusing on extending that space between the ribs and the hips, pressing my buttocks away from me. And on the last couple of breaths, stretching in the leg a little bit more. So this time we're going to bring the left leg over to the right side into a twist, arms out to a T. Again, resting that foot on a block can give you a little bit of ease if there's too much tension there. Still trying to create that space between my hip and my ribs. And the intensity that you feel from this pose is really, really nice, especially afterwards. When we let go, eventually in a few minutes into Shavasana, It's going to feel really good. Let's bring that left foot over to the left side now, using my right hand to ground down. Still, again, trying to ground down with the right foot. Once again, trying to create that space between the left side ribs and the left hip. Trying to get a little bit further with each breath. Let's bring it back in. Stretch it up one more time, just to even things out. And I'll drop the strap off to the side, bring my legs in, and I'm going to straighten them up towards the sky, heels up towards the sky, to even things out here, allow the body to realign. Allow some of the blood from the legs that we've pumped in to pump back into the rest of the body. And then one last stretch here. I'm going to do that sort of hurdler style stretch. I came down pretty quick into that pretty extensive stretch that's not necessary. I recommend not doing that actually, and coming up first, like I'm doing here. You can just use the tension from your arm and press that right hip up towards the sky. And then eventually work yourself down if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, staying with the up on the elbow is just fine. I'm going to switch the hips, come over to the other side. I'm up on my right elbow, bending the left knee back, grabbing a hold of the left foot, and using my right leg, as you can see, to kind of brace. Take a couple of breaths on the elbow, and if it feels comfortable, I'm using my head to ground myself down. Make sure my positioning is right, and then allow the stretch to really come in. Deep, deep breaths. This can be quite an intense stretch. So if you're feeling that pain, you want to back off, but again, allowing the breath to be your guide. Squeeze into a ball for a second, and what we've all come for, Shavasana. So I'm kind of working my shoulder blades underneath me, getting my hips in the right position, allowing my feet to drop off to the side, my legs to spread just slightly. My arms coming off to the side, and I'm allowing my palms to go upwards towards the sky, receiving all that energy from the universe. And start to reflect on all those poses that we've just done, all that strengthening that we've done. We've detoxified the body a little bit. We've strengthened, we've increased the energy in our body through the breath. Now we want to let it all go. Progressively relax. So you can start with your head, relaxing all the muscles in the face and the forehead and the jaw, through the neck. Let it all melt through the shoulders. Fix any last thing you need to fix. Again, letting the torso relax through the chest, through the abdomen, through the back, the arms relax down, through the hips, the legs, right down to the feet. Every single muscle is melting. If it's not sunny where you are right now, take a look at the beautiful clouds behind. Think of a nice sunny day inside your mind. As the singing bowl starts to flow away there, allow your fingers and your ankles to wake back up. Come over to the side in a fetal position. Allow your head to rest on your shoulder. Coming back into a seated position when you're ready. And always important to seal the practice. Not just to get up and be on our way, but to really focus on what you've done. Everything we've done up to this point is basically to prepare us for this seated meditation, and I encourage you to continue on in this seated meditation. Become the observer. Be able to observe your thoughts. Observe what's going on in your body. Let's bring the hands into Anjali Mudra. Bowing the head into gratitude. And finding gratitude for all the things. Even though we're trapped inside, we still have our breath, we still have our bodies. Namaste.